Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ann Scarberry. In today's video, I'm going to show you how you can fake some vintage decor. I've been lucky enough to be given a lot of vintage from my aunt and my mom and my grandma, so I have inherited quite a bit. I also live in Florida and I thrift a lot, and I've been lucky to find some really good treasures. But if you don't have time to thrift and don't have family members that are willing to give up some treasures, let me show you how to fake it. I'm going to start out with something that I love to do. I do this quite often. I try to find old advertising, or in this instance, it's a cover to Good Housekeeping magazine. It's royalty free, copyright free. It's public domain. You can freely print this. So I took a screenshot off the internet and cropped it up, sent it over to Walgreens. They were having a special on this day. I got this printed in an 11 by 14 size, and it's called a poster print, and it was $1.99 this day. So for just $2, I swapped out the picture that I had in there. You can see on the side there was something in there from Christmas. And there you go. I've got a quick and cheap vintage magazine cover. Perfect for the 4th of July. A few years ago, I scored a vintage sparkler box, and I've always admired how beautiful the artwork is on this box, and I've never been able to find one since. So I started looking online for different kinds of fireworks or another sparkler box, and there are so many beautiful packages that someone has been kind enough to keep putting them online because they're everywhere if you look for them. And so I found some of my favorites and I sized them up to different sizes that I thought would look cute in a bowl or on a shelf. So I printed them out, and I'll give you the printable in the description box so you can make some of these too. I took a scrap piece of wood and laid them all out on this piece of wood that was just laying in our garage, and had my husband cut it up for me into the sizes that I needed. And he did a great job because they were perfect. So the first thing I'm going to do is get a piece of sandpaper and sand out some of the sharp pieces on the corners from the cuts. And so I just quickly ran some sandpaper over the corners and over the sides and get it nice and smooth. So once the scraps of wood were all nice and smooth, I went through and matched up the labels with the correct size of wood that I had cut. So I just wanted to make sure I had it all ready and organized because I wanted to paint them different colors, and I wanted to see what color of label would look great with the right color of paint on the other side. So I just found this paint set from Five Below. We had it in our cabinet from another project, but and we never used it. So I had all these different colors on hand. They're not the best paints in the world, but it worked. So I just kind of went through and picked different colors for different boxes and matched it up as best I could. And then I painted the backs and the sides. Once the paints were completely dry, again, here I am matching back up each label with the correct side of wood. And on the side that didn't get painted, that's where the label's going. So I am going through and setting the labels on the correct piece of wood because I'm about to glue them together. Once my labels are matched up with the right size of wood, I get a sponge brush and I put on a nice good coat of Mod Podge. Now this is technically decoupage, this process, and I probably am not doing this right, so I don't know. If there's a better way, let me know. But this is the way I did it. I probably have way too much on here, but the project worked out fine. Turned out great. So if there's an easier way, I am open to tips on this. I just put a nice bit of Mod Podge and then stuck the label on like a sticker. I smoothed out any bubbles and moved along pretty quickly. Once the Mod Podge was completely dry, I took my sandpaper and sanded the edges of the paper, especially if the paper overhung on a little bit of the wood. It sanded right off. It made a nice, perfect edge. And I gave it a little bit of wear on the edges, kind of to resemble an old firework box. After I did the sanding, I took a wet wipe and just kind of wiped off any dust that got on top of the label. Then once my labels were nice and clean, I went back with a good bit of Mod Podge and sealed the tops of the labels. Now the Mod Podge is dry and these look great. I could be done with them right here, but I bought this little ink pad from Hobby Lobby and it's in this creamy antique lace color. And I just kind of went over the labels just with a little bit of this paint. See how it's given it a little bit of a dingy look? And it's pretty cute. I could have gotten this look by sanding a little bit harder before I did the final Mod Podge, but I was just playing with it. I've never used this product before and it was kind of fun. This part I didn't like, so I just took a wet wipe and wiped it off and tried it again. So you can do this step, you don't have to. These look pretty vintage the way they are with the sanding on the edges. And like I said, you could get this look by just sanding the top of that label before you do that final coat of Mod Podge. On this one, I went sideways with the swipe and it's cute. Looks a little bit more worn for a piece of papery packaging, I would think, for how old it's supposed to look. I think they look pretty darn cute. I think this merry-go-round label is probably my favorite one. I love the Western ones. That reminds me of my boys when they were little. But I don't know. Do you have a favorite? I sure like this one. I think the colors are pretty cool. On this final project that I'm going to share with you today, it happened by accident because I was thrifting the other day I was just wanting some kind of eagle plate or old vintagey flag china, and I cannot find this anywhere. Maybe it doesn't exist. I don't know. Well, it does now because I decided to just make it. So my daughter and I were out looking, couldn't find anything, so I found a plain white platter diner plate. So I had an idea. I grabbed this paper. It's called water slide decals. I don't know if you have ever worked with it, but I bought it on Amazon. I'll leave the link below so you can get some because this is so fun. After you've printed it, you're going to take this clear coat and you're going to spray the image. Then you're going to let it dry for like 3 minutes. Then you're going to spray it again. Let it dry, spray it again. So it's gonna get 3 coats of that clear coat. After it's dry, just take some scissors and cut out your image as best you can in the shape of whatever image you've printed out. What's ideal here is to do like a print and cut with a Cricut machine, but I was not gonna do that. But you could do a much cleaner cut because the cut, it does show. So just keep that in mind. You wanna cut it as clean as possible. So after you've cut out your image, this is the fun part, you're going to line it up, kind of figure out where you want it on the plate, and then you're gonna get the plate a little bit wet with a little bit of water. Then just stick your decal in the water, let it curl up, and then it'll kind of relax. Leave it in there for about 30 seconds. For a decal this size, it only took like 30 seconds. And what you're wanting it to do is separate your image from the paper backing, the white backing that you see. Look, I'll show you right here. It's gonna easily slide off of that white paper. Watch, there it is, it's sliding. So now that our plate is wet, we wanna slide it onto that wet spot on our plate. Now, because of that water, it's easily maneuverable. You can move it around, slide it around, and get it centered exactly how you want it. And once it's where you want it, grab some paper towel and dab all the excess water around. Here, I'm gonna show you in the light. See that? You see my cut? That doesn't go away. That's always gonna be there. So that's the downside of this project. You do see that it wasn't burned into the plate, but that's why I think a Cricut cut would just put this project over the top. But I kind of did better with stars, which is kind of easier to cut out, but I had these tiny little stars I thought I'd add to the sides. And it looks good. They were just very hard to work with. It was like if you wear contacts, I'm sure that's how it must be because they were tiny and then they'd curl up and then I'd have to print another one. I got it done. And see, it's just so easy to work with. Once you get it on, you can slide it around, move it around. And they sell squeegees where you can go over your image and kind of squeegee out the water that's underneath, you want to get it no bubbles underneath. So you just kind of keep looking at it in the light to make sure there's no water trapped under there. And it's easily done. Just keep working with it and get all the water off. Once you have it positioned where you want it and all of the water is off, put it in a 280-degree oven for 15 minutes and it's done. It's on there and it's so pretty. Doesn't it look presidential? I just am so impressed with how it turned out. These are the 3 ideas I thought I'd share today. I hope maybe one of them you'll give it a try. Let me know in the comments what your favorite one was and if you'd actually do one of these. I would love to know. I hope you know how much I've appreciated all of your sweet comments. It means so much to me and to this small channel. Thank you so much. I will see you all in the next video.